It seems to me, as I look back over the pages of history, that the whole history of civilization is but the story of struggle. Now, every great personality who has ever plowed his way into human history for the benefits of the human race has had to fight his way in through resistance and opposition and criticism. Every great advance which man has ever made in the history of the race has been made in the presence of someone who said, "It can't be done." Every great idea which has ever been of value to humankind has had to struggle long and persistently for acceptance. Man has never willingly, voluntarily, and graciously accepted that which was good for him. Now, that's been my observation. Maybe it isn't yours. I'd be interested in your reaction to that deduction. My friend Dr. Stidger told of hearing Dr. Joseph Fort Newton tell a story about a certain amateur naturalist watching an emperor moth slowly making his laborious way from the chrysalis stage. Day by day it struggled, strove, and squirmed, trying to emerge from its cocoon. The opening of that cocoon was so narrow that the amateur naturalist decided to give the emperor moth some help from the outside. So he took his penknife, slightly enlarged the opening to make it easier for the moth to emerge. It seemed so harsh a struggle to him that he thought it ought to be ended quickly. Doesn't that remind you of the way some parents seek to shield their children when they're battling through some hard problem? We make it so easy for them that they never know the joy of overcoming, of having definite tasks to do, wood to cut, newspapers to deliver in the early morning hours, dishes to wash. But in saving them from the hard things of life, we later may discover just what the amateur naturalist discovered, though the moth ended his conflict earlier and arrived in the world. Its wings were imperfect. It could only flutter feebly on the ground and could not fly. And before night it would either sicken or die, or its natural enemies would have eaten it. It would not be able to battle its own way because it did not go through the difficult struggle which was necessary to develop large, strong wings. You see the great truth underlying this principle, this naturalist trying to help an emperor moth speed up the natural processes? He did an injustice to the moth. Robert Browning expressed the struggle beautifully, I think, in this verse from his famous, and justly famous, Rabbi Ben Ezra. Here is what the poet Robert Browning said. Then welcome each rebuff that turns earth's smoothness rough, each sting that bids nor sit nor stand but go. Be our joys 3 parts pain. Strive and hold cheap the strain. Learn nor account the pang. Dare never grudge the foe. Somewhere within this observation of the great poet Robert Browning is a philosophy which, if rightly understood, would help us all to learn how we can utilize the experiences, the contacts of life, which in themselves we think of as wrong or bad, that we're a victim of fate or fortune, but which fundamentally help us and assist us to the enrichment of life. I'm grateful for your listening. Keep looking up.